There are moments in royal history that arrive with fanfare, trumpets, and global headlines. And then there are moments that happen quietly, almost unnoticed at first, only for people to realize later that they have witnessed the beginning of something far bigger than they imagined. What Prince William has just done may be one of those moments. Because this is not a story about another royal engagement, another ceremonial appearance, or another carefully choreographed palace event. It is not about family drama, tabloid speculation, or the endless headlines that seem to follow the House of Windsor wherever it goes. Instead, this is about power. It is about what happens when the future king of the United Kingdom decides that one of the oldest institutions in British history should no longer operate in the same way it has for centuries. And perhaps most importantly, it is about a decision that could reveal exactly what kind of monarch Prince William intends to become when the crown eventually passes to him. For generations, the British monarchy has faced the same criticism. Too much privilege, too much wealth, too much distance from the everyday struggles facing ordinary people. Yet what has just emerged from Prince William's stewardship of the Duchy of Cornwall suggests that a very different vision may already be taking shape behind palace walls. A vision that could redefine not only the future of the duchy itself, but the future role of the monarchy in modern Britain. And once you understand the scale of what is being proposed, why it matters, and what it could mean for millions of people, you may never look at Prince William or the institution he is preparing to inherit in quite the same way again. Because this story begins with a piece of royal history that most people have heard of, but very few truly understand. The Duchy of Cornwall. At first glance, the name sounds almost harmless. It sounds like a historic estate tucked away somewhere in the English countryside. A collection of farms, perhaps. Some old buildings. Maybe a few thousand acres of land passed from one royal generation to the next. The reality is dramatically different. The Duchy of Cornwall is not merely an estate. It is a financial powerhouse. It is one of the most influential private landholdings in the United Kingdom. And for nearly 7 centuries, it has served as one of the principal sources of wealth and influence for the heir to the British throne. Its origins stretch back to the year 1337 when King Edward III established it to provide income for his eldest son. Think about that for a moment. This institution was created before the Renaissance transformed Europe, before the discovery of the Americas, before the invention of the printing press changed the world forever. Empires have risen and fallen since then. Entire nations have been born. Political systems have come and gone. Yet the Duchy of Cornwall remained. Today, it encompasses approximately 128,000 acres spread across England. Not just Cornwall itself, but significant holdings in Devon, Dartmoor, the Isles of Scilly, Bath, and even parts of South London. Its influence reaches from remote rural landscapes to densely populated urban communities. And with that land comes extraordinary financial power. Every year, the duchy generates millions of pounds in revenue for the Prince of Wales. For decades, that beneficiary was King Charles III. Then, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II and Charles's accession to the throne, everything changed. Almost overnight, Prince William inherited responsibility for one of the most valuable and historically significant estates in Britain. Many expected continuity. After all, royal institutions are famous for moving slowly. Tradition is their foundation. Stability is their greatest strength. Change, when it happens, is usually measured in decades rather than years. But from the very beginning, there were signs that William saw things differently. Quiet signs at first. Small indications that the future king was not interested in simply preserving what had been handed to him. Observers began noticing a pattern. Whether discussing homelessness, environmental protection, sustainable communities, or the future responsibilities of public institutions, William repeatedly returned to the same theme. Purpose, not preservation for the sake of preservation, not wealth for the sake of wealth. Purpose, and that distinction matters more than many people realize. Because throughout history, institutions survive only when they can justify their existence to the people they serve. The British monarchy understands this perhaps better than any institution on earth. Public trust is not inherited automatically. It must be earned generation after generation. William appears to know that, which is why what happened next has attracted such enormous attention from royal watchers, historians, community leaders, and political observers alike. Behind the scenes, Plans were being developed that would challenge centuries of assumptions about what the Duchy of Cornwall actually exists to do. Plans involving land, plans involving money, plans involving communities, and plans that could ultimately reshape how one of Britain's oldest royal institutions interacts with the modern world. But before those plans became public, there was a deeper question William needed to answer. Could an institution built in the medieval era genuinely serve the needs of 21st century Britain? Or would the weight of history prove too powerful to overcome? The answer would arrive in the form of an announcement that stunned royal observers and immediately sparked debate across the country. And when the details emerged, many realized they were witnessing something far bigger than a routine royal initiative. They were witnessing the opening chapter of Prince William's vision for the future. And what that vision revealed was something few people expected. 4 years, Queen Camilla has occupied one of the most difficult positions in modern royal history. Unlike Queen Elizabeth II, whose place in the institution was never questioned, or Catherine, Princess of Wales, whose popularity grew steadily after joining the royal family, Camilla's path has been shaped by controversy, public skepticism, and the burden of history itself. That reality helps explain why discussions surrounding Princess and often generate so much interest. Because whenever Anne's influence grows, observers inevitably begin comparing the two women. Not publicly, not officially, but inside the world of royal analysis, the comparison never truly disappears. The contrast could hardly be greater. Princess Anne built her reputation through decades of relentless work. She became known as the royal who rarely complained, rarely sought headlines, and consistently appeared wherever duty required her presence. While others attracted media attention through glamour, interviews, or controversy, and quietly accumulated something far more valuable inside palace circles: credibility. That credibility was not earned overnight. It was built engagement by engagement, year after year, decade after decade, long before King Charles became monarch, and had already established herself as one of the hardest-working members of the family. She represented the crown across the United Kingdom and around the world with remarkable consistency, developing a reputation for professionalism that even many critics of the monarchy openly respected. Camilla's journey was entirely different. Her story began under circumstances that would challenge almost anyone entering public life. 4 years, her name remained connected to one of the most painful chapters in royal history. Public perception became intertwined with memories of Diana, Princess of Wales, creating a challenge that no amount of official statements could immediately solve. The monarchy understood this. Camilla understood this. And perhaps most importantly, King Charles understood it better than anyone. Over time, a gradual transformation began. Public appearances increased. Charitable work expanded. The image of Camilla evolved from controversial outsider to experienced royal figure. Yet acceptance is not the same as affection, and respect is not always the same as trust. That distinction becomes particularly important when examining the internal dynamics of the royal family. Among royal commentators, there has long been fascination surrounding the relationship between Anne and Camilla. Much of that fascination stems from history that stretches back decades before either woman occupied her current position. Long before Camilla became queen, she was married to Andrew Parker Bowles. Long before Charles eventually married Camilla, Andrew Parker Bowles had been romantically linked to Princess Anne. It is the kind of complicated historical connection that would attract attention in any family, but inside the royal family it became the subject of endless speculation. The reality is that no outsider truly knows the private feelings that exist behind palace walls. What is known is that Anne and Camilla developed very different approaches to royal life, and represents continuity, duty, tradition, discipline, the idea that service comes before personal comfort. Camilla represents something more complicated: adaptation, reinvention, the ability to survive extraordinary public scrutiny and gradually reshape public perception. Neither approach is necessarily wrong, yet they reflect two very different visions of what it means to serve the crown. That difference becomes increasingly significant during periods of uncertainty. Whenever institutions face pressure, questions emerge about leadership styles, priorities, and long-term direction. The British monarchy is no exception. As King Charles works to define his reign, every major figure surrounding him becomes part of a larger conversation about the future. Who carries influence? Who shapes decisions? who commands respect, who can be relied upon when circumstances become difficult. For many observers, Anne's name repeatedly rises to the top of that list. Her influence is not built on public relations campaigns. It is not built on popularity polls. It is not built on carefully crafted media narratives. It is built on something much harder to achieve: a lifetime record. That record may explain why Charles has repeatedly demonstrated extraordinary confidence in his sister during his coronation and received the historic role of gold stick in waiting, a position carrying both ceremonial and symbolic importance. To many royal watchers, it represented a visible demonstration of trust between the monarch and his sister. Trust matters enormously inside royal institutions. More than titles, more than public rankings, more than newspaper headlines. A monarch can delegate duties. A monarch can distribute honors. But genuine trust is reserved for a very small circle. That reality is what makes Princess Anne's position so fascinating. Because while public attention often focuses on future kings and queens, another figure has quietly become indispensable to the functioning of the institution. And if the reports surrounding Anne's expanding role contain even a fraction of truth, the implications extend far beyond palace symbolism. Because there is another person watching these developments very closely. A future king whose responsibilities continue to grow with each passing year. Prince William. And what happens when the king's most trusted sibling and the future monarch's vision for the crown begin to align may reveal more about the monarchy's future than any royal title ever could. Prince William has spent most of his life preparing for a future that once seemed distant but now feels increasingly close. Every public appearance, every diplomatic engagement, every carefully measured statement reflects the reality that he is no longer simply the heir to the throne. He is becoming the central figure around which the future monarchy is being built. And that makes Princess Anne's growing significance impossible to ignore. Because when royal observers examine the people William consistently respects, listens to, and appears comfortable around, and occupies a unique position, unlike many senior figures within the institution, and bridges two worlds simultaneously. She understands the traditions established during Queen Elizabeth II's reign because she lived them firsthand for decades. At the same time, she understands the pressures confronting William's generation of royals, including the growing demands for transparency, accountability, and relevance in a rapidly changing society. That combination makes her extraordinarily valuable. The monarchy today faces a challenge unlike any it has encountered in previous generations. For centuries, the institution relied heavily on mystique. Distance created authority. The public rarely saw behind palace walls, and that separation reinforced the crown's symbolic power. Modern media changed everything. Social media changed even more. Today, every royal gesture is analyzed within minutes. Every public appearance becomes a topic of debate. Every photograph generates hundreds of interpretations. The crown still represents continuity, but it now operates in an environment that rewards accessibility while simultaneously punishing mistakes. Navigating that contradiction requires experience, and few people possess more experience than Princess Anne. Throughout her life, she has witnessed almost every major transformation within the modern monarchy. She observed the final decades of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. She watched the rise and fall of public attitudes toward various members of the royal family. She experienced periods of overwhelming popularity and periods of intense criticism. Most importantly, she learned how to survive both without allowing either to define her. That lesson may prove invaluable for William, because the future king faces enormous expectations. Unlike previous heirs, he is preparing to inherit not only a throne, but also an institution that must constantly justify its relevance to new generations. Every decision he makes will be examined through that lens. How large should the working royal family be? Which traditions should be preserved? Which should evolve? How can the monarchy maintain dignity without appearing detached? These questions will define William's reign long before his coronation ever occurs. And in many ways, Anne already represents one possible answer. Her popularity has never depended upon dramatic speeches. It has never depended upon emotional interviews. It has never depended upon carefully crafted media campaigns. Instead, it has depended upon consistency. The public knows what to expect from Princess Anne. She works, she appears, She fulfills commitments. She moves on to the next engagement. There is something almost old-fashioned about that approach. Yet paradoxically, it has become increasingly valuable in a modern world dominated by constant publicity. Many royal commentators believe William recognizes this. In fact, one of the strongest themes emerging from recent years has been the apparent alignment between Anne's philosophy of service and William's long-term vision for the monarchy. Both appear to favor a smaller institution. Both emphasize duty over celebrity. Both place enormous importance on public service rather than personal attention. And both seem deeply aware that public trust cannot be demanded. It must be earned. That shared outlook may explain why Anne's influence extends beyond her formal responsibilities. Influence inside royal families rarely comes from official authority alone. It comes from credibility. When a person consistently demonstrates sound judgment over decades, their opinion naturally carries greater weight. Princess Anne has spent an entire lifetime building that reputation. Even during moments of family turbulence, she remained remarkably steady. While public attention focused on scandals, disputes, and controversies, and continued performing engagements, supporting charities, and representing the institution, there were no dramatic reinventions, no attempts to reshape her image, no campaigns designed to increase popularity, only work, year after year. That reliability became especially important during one of the most difficult periods in recent royal history. Following Queen Elizabeth II's death, the monarchy entered a period of profound transition. An era ended, a new reign began, and suddenly the burden of continuity fell upon a smaller group of senior royals. Once again, Anne stepped forward, not because she sought additional influence, not because she wanted greater visibility, but because the institution required it. Her presence during that transition reinforced a reality that many royal watchers had already begun to recognize. Princess Anne was no longer merely supporting the monarchy. In many respects, she had become one of the pillars holding it together. Which brings us back to the growing speculation surrounding King Charles. Because whenever monarchies confront uncertainty, one question inevitably emerges behind closed doors. Who can be trusted when circumstances become critical? The answer appears increasingly obvious. Not because Anne is the king's sister, not because she carries an impressive title, but because she has spent decades proving herself when the institution needed her most. And according to those who closely follow palace dynamics, that trust may soon become more significant than anyone outside Buckingham Palace currently realizes. Because as questions about King Charles's health continue to circulate and Prince William prepares for greater responsibility, attention is shifting toward a development that could reveal exactly how much confidence the king places in his sister. A development involving not just Princess Anne herself, but the extraordinary honors and signals quietly emerging from the very center of royal power. The strongest signals in royal life are often the ones delivered without fanfare. Not a televised address, not a palace balcony appearance, not a carefully orchestrated ceremony designed for cameras. Sometimes a single line buried inside an official court circular tells a far bigger story than an hour-long royal event. That is exactly why attention began shifting toward Sir Timothy Lawrence. For most of the public, Timothy Lawrence remains one of the least discussed figures in the royal family. He is not a future king. He does not dominate headlines. He rarely gives interviews and almost never becomes the center of royal coverage. Yet within palace circles, his reputation is remarkably strong. For more than 3 decades, he has quietly stood beside Princess and through every phase of royal life, serving as a steady and dependable presence during periods of triumph, tragedy, controversy, and transition. Unlike many public figures who seek recognition, Timothy built his reputation through discretion. He became known as someone who understood the institution, respected its traditions, and never attempted to use his position for personal attention. That background makes what happened next especially interesting. King Charles elevated Timothy Lawrence to Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, one of the highest honors personally granted by the monarch. Unlike many distinctions awarded through political processes or government recommendations, the Royal Victorian Order is unique because it represents direct recognition from the sovereign himself. It is a personal acknowledgement of loyalty and service. On the surface, the honor appeared straightforward. A king rewarding decades of dedication. a royal acknowledgement of faithful service, a ceremonial recognition long overdue. But royal watchers rarely stop at the surface. Inside the monarchy, timing matters. Symbols matter. Messages matter. And this particular gesture arrived during a period when every royal decision was being examined for clues about the future. Suddenly, people began asking a larger question. Why now? Why elevate Anne's husband at this particular moment? Why send such a visible signal of appreciation toward a figure so closely associated with the Princess Royal? The answer may reveal something important about Charles himself. Throughout his reign, one pattern has become increasingly clear. The king places enormous value on loyalty. Not temporary loyalty, not political loyalty, not loyalty based on convenience, but the kind of loyalty demonstrated consistently over decades. The kind that remains intact through crises. The kind that survives public pressure. The kind that asks for nothing in return. Few people embody those qualities more completely than Princess Anne and Timothy Lawrence. Together, they represent a model of royal service that Charles appears to admire deeply. No drama, no public feuds, no attempts to dominate headlines. Only duty, again and again, year after year. That consistency becomes even more important when viewed against the backdrop of challenges facing the monarchy. The institution has become smaller. Several senior royals no longer perform official duties. The workload carried by the remaining working royals has increased dramatically. At the same time, public expectations continue evolving. The monarchy must remain relevant while preserving tradition. It must modernize without losing its identity. It must maintain public confidence during periods of uncertainty. These pressures affect every major decision made by Buckingham Palace. And they help explain why Charles appears to rely increasingly on people whose commitment has already been tested. In many ways, and represents exactly the type of royal figure the king believes the institution needs. Dependable, disciplined, respected, unaffected by passing trends. When Charles looks at his sister, he does not see a public relations challenge. He sees stability, and stability has become one of the most valuable commodities in modern royal life. That perception has fueled endless speculation regarding Anne's influence behind palace walls. Officially, constitutional authority remains clearly defined. Unofficially, however, influence often follows trust. And trust appears to be where Anne's true strength lies. Those who follow royal affairs closely frequently point to one consistent reality. Whenever the monarchy enters difficult territory and seems to move closer to the center of the institution rather than further away. Her role during major transitions, her visible support for Charles, her willingness to shoulder increasing responsibilities, all of it reinforces the impression that the king's confidence in her remains exceptionally high. Perhaps that is why stories about special responsibilities, unusual royal orders, and expanded influence continue gaining attention. People believe them because they align with a broader pattern already visible to the public. A pattern in which Anne repeatedly emerges as one of the monarchy's most trusted figures. But there is another layer to the story, one that extends beyond honors, titles, and palace symbolism. Because behind every discussion about Princess Anne's growing importance lies an even larger question. A question that goes directly to the heart of the monarchy's future. What happens if King Charles's vision for the crown increasingly depends upon the people he trusts most rather than the traditional power structures that have existed for generations? And if that process is already underway, then the final piece of this royal puzzle may reveal why Princess Anne's role has become so significant at precisely this moment in history. The answer may not simply reshape perceptions of Anne. It may reshape how people understand the future direction of the entire House of Windsor. The deeper the story goes, the more obvious one reality becomes. Whether the dramatic claims surrounding a so-called Princess Royal Regent title are ultimately confirmed or not, the fascination they generated reveals something important about the current state of the monarchy. People believed it could happen, not because of palace rumors, not because of anonymous sources, but because Princess Anne has spent an entire lifetime becoming exactly the kind of person who would be entrusted with extraordinary responsibility. That distinction matters. Royal institutions survive not simply because of crowns, ceremonies, or centuries of tradition. They survive because certain individuals convince both the public and those around them that they can be depended upon when circumstances become difficult. Princess, and has achieved that in a way few modern royals ever have. For decades, she has quietly constructed a reputation built almost entirely on action rather than publicity, while others generated headlines and generated results, while others focused on image and focused on service, while others became symbols of controversy or change and became a symbol of consistency. That consistency now appears more valuable than ever. The monarchy stands at a crossroads unlike any faced during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. A new king sits on the throne. A future king is preparing for even greater responsibility. Public expectations continue evolving. The institution itself is adapting to a rapidly changing world. And through all of it, one figure continues to occupy a remarkably steady position: Princess Anne. Perhaps that is why conversations surrounding her role carry so much significance. They are not really about a title. They are not really about palace paperwork. And they are certainly not just about ceremonial honors. They are about trust. Trust is the hidden currency of monarchy. A monarch must trust advisors. A monarch must trust family. A monarch must trust those who stand closest to the crown during moments of uncertainty. And among all the senior royals currently serving the institution, few appear to enjoy more of King Charles's confidence than his sister. That confidence has become increasingly visible over recent years. From her prominent role during the coronation, to her continued position at the center of major royal events, to the respect Charles consistently demonstrates toward her judgment and experience. The pattern is difficult to ignore. Yet what may be most remarkable is that Anne never seems interested in the power associated with such influence. That is precisely why many believe she possesses it. History repeatedly shows that the people most suited for responsibility are often those who never seek it. Princess Anne has never campaigned for attention, never chased popularity, never attempted to become the public face of the monarchy. Instead, she simply continued doing the work. Day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And perhaps that is why, during a period filled with uncertainty, so many eyes are turning toward her. Because stability has become increasingly rare. And Anne represents stability. As King Charles continues shaping his reign and Prince William prepares for the future, the role of trusted figures around them will become even more important. The next chapter of the monarchy may ultimately be defined not only by kings and queens, but by the people standing quietly beside them. The people carrying institutional memory. The people preserving continuity. The people willing to place duty above personal ambition. If that is the standard, then Princess Anne's importance may be greater than many realize. Not because she seeks authority, but because authority naturally gravitates toward those who have earned trust. And in today's royal family, trust may be the most valuable title of all. As the House of Windsor moves toward an uncertain future, one question remains. When historians eventually look back on this period, will they conclude that Princess Anne was simply the king's loyal sister? Or will they see her as one of the key figures who helped hold the monarchy together during one of its most challenging transitions? Only time will provide the answer. But one thing is already clear. The story of Princess Anne is far from over, and some of the most important chapters may still lie ahead. If you enjoyed this video, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe Princess Anne has become the most trusted figure within King Charles's inner circle? And do you think her influence on the future of the monarchy is even greater than the public realizes? If you enjoyed this royal documentary, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the hidden stories, palace dynamics, and fascinating personalities shaping the future of the British royal family. And stay with us, because the next royal revelation may already be unfolding behind palace walls.